Hi guys, hello. Can you hear me fine?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. Hi.
So
Hi
nice
there.
to see you. Great.
Hello.
How are you today?
Hello, Redmilla.
Good.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, great. So some new faces. Always happy to see more consolidated partners as well. So perfect. Right. So let's start with a little bit of feedback. How was your week? Anything important, interesting to mention, worth sharing? Let's hear from you first. Anyone? Marisol, come on, give it a go.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Why not? Well, this has been my second week of
Yeah.
teaching, so it's been a great pleasure, and I was happy to receive all the support that I needed. I had technical issues to deal with. The IT department helped me, and finally everything went okay, went all right. Yeah, it's been a interesting learning curve for me.
Great.
And yeah, I'm very happy because the issues that obviously you may encounter, there is a great team, I must say, behind to help you all along. So that's great. And
Thank
the
you.
students, the dynamics of the lessons, I'm getting more used to, and yeah, it's been so far so good. It's been really, really nice.
Thank you on their behalf, on behalf of the team. I know they've been there for you. I know what you're talking about. Thank you that you mentioned that. Nice background, by the way.
Thank you.
Jordan, welcome back. How are you?
Oh, hello. I'm very good, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been back for this past week, I'd say,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was really good coming back into Oxinity. It was really nice teaching again as well. It was surprising that I recognised so many of the students as well. You know,
Great.
I think that was good, and I've had some really good lessons. I've been enjoying it.
Amazing. Okay, so guys, first of all, I'll start with well, we have a topic for today. We'll get there, and hopefully you will find it useful. But just a question for you, based on the latest news, if you were Elon Musk, would you buy Twitter? Jordan, how about you?
Well, I think any time the answer would always be I wouldn't be able to. So having the opportunity to buy it, I might as well just to see what happens because, you know, yeah, of course, why not? If you've got the chance, you might
What
as
would you
well.
do with it?
Oh, not much. I don't even use Twitter. I've never used it in my life. What would I do with it? I don't know. I'd try to do something good with it.
Okay. All right, fair enough. How about you, Gergo? Would you buy Twitter if you were Elon Musk?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My answer is relatively exactly the same as Jordan's. I don't use Twitter. I think once I had an account, but it's not really my thing. But to buy it, once you have the chance, yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm. And what would you do with it?
I don't know. Really, I have no idea.
Okay. How about you, Blanca?
I guess if I was Elon Musk, he wants to buy everything, no? He said he would buy, I don't know, he made another statement, said he would buy something else crazy. But yeah, I think I would buy it and I would assign really trusted people to make it run and just take the profit and live my life. I don't know.
The question is, would you? Okay, so it's not. I can buy everything or anything, and I would buy this. But would you have made? Oh, Gergo, go ahead as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, just one thing is that why do you buy it? I mean, like if you buy it as an investment,
Yeah.
then you would use it as an asset, and then you would use it as an investment, right? So it depends on what your primary intentions are with buying
Yes. That's it.
Twitter. I'm not sure if Elon Musk's intentions are to regulate it or actually to make money with it. I wouldn't
now-
like to address that,
But from your perspective, you're Gergo, with the resources of Elon Musk, and you have the opportunity of buying Twitter, would you do it? And what for?
That's I'm not sure if I'm ready just like this to answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, with a friend of mine, we did talk about this topic just a couple of days ago, because if it comes to the question of freedom of speech and regulating what people can and cannot share on these platforms, it's a very, very, how to say, it's difficult to answer, because, well, on one hand, freedom of speech is freedom of speech, right? So when we can say what we want to say, everybody has the right to say whatever they want to say. That's including everybody and everything, unfortunately. So what are the regulations on that? I'm not sure if I have the how to say, if I can address that, to be honest. In the case of Elon Musk, or if I would do it. Well, I would do it if I want to gain money, if I want to make money, not to regulate. If I was in the place of Elon Musk right now, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. I guess what I want to say is, would you buy, or would you in general, not just you, Gergo, would you in general buy Twitter or something different? And so now if you can buy, let's see with Georgina. What do you say?
Oh, well, I don't know. I'd say yes. Twitter is the most horrible thing in the world. I really agree with Gergo, what he said, but I think, sorry, the main problems of the world come from Twitter. You have people giving their opinion about things that they don't know. And I'm sorry, yes, there's freedom of speech, but not everybody can talk about anything they want, basically because they don't know. So instead of thinking freedom of speech, let's start thinking about freedom of intelligence. Anyhow, yeah, maybe I would buy Twitter, but to manipulate the world with good values, positive things, and I would regulate it. I don't know if I could make money. I would probably not live off the rest of my life having a happy life. I don't think so. I would continue being active in a way, but money is a resource. It is very, very necessary. But if I would have that, I would definitely use it to benefit other people in the world. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Well, Elon Musk can change the world. Actually, he is changing it. Yeah. And he goes and buy Twitter. So if you had the resources, Lucas, to change the world, how would you do it?
I would not buy Twitter, no.
You would not.
And Twitter is a sinking ship, and you really can't monetize Twitter, so it's really difficult it's a very difficult platform to monetize, because how do you do it? You can put ads, but generally the share of Twitter, even before Elon Musk bought it, has been going down. I think Elon Musk buying Twitter but this is more my personal opinion, is kind of a vanity project for him. But as a platform, I don't think Twitter has a future, or at least a future as a publicly traded company. I think it has a future as a forum for organizers and people to promote themselves. But as a platform that is going to create a new business model that you can monetize, then no, not really.
Mm-hmm. All right. And how about you, Josie? What's your answer?
Yeah, I wondered if it had some connection to do with him in like crypto, because I remember him doing like a Twitter post and it totally like blew Bitcoin up. So I don't know if that's like something to do with his personal motivation. I myself, I don't like Twitter. I also don't see a future, but then I know a lot of people who like politics who use it a lot. So yeah, personally, I don't think I would buy it, but interesting motivation from him.
Okay, so if we could think big and, we can achieve changes in this world, what would you do? then? You, for instance, what decision would you make to change the world?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh goodness, I don't know if I can answer that just on the spot. Can I have a little think about it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Imagine yourself with you, Josie, not someone else, but you, your feelings, your personality with Elon Musk's money. So you can change the world.
Yeah,
What do
I would just do so much for charity. I think I would just set up loads of charities or like put my funding into charities. Yeah, I wouldn't go with social media, I don't think.
Okay. How about you, Paddy?
Sorry, I was muted. Hi. Yeah, I mean, I'd use it to help myself probably grow and be selfish with it. Yeah. It's great for getting messages across, but changing the world, I don't know. For Twitter, I think it's probably easier to put it across as a platform where obviously misinformation is passed around, rather than try to promote it as a place where we can share I don't know, I guess useful information or correct information, because on social media it's just there's no way of controlling it. So yeah, changing the world, I don't know about that. With Twitter, I have absolutely no idea. But in terms of business and growth, I think it would be very useful on a promotional scale, absolutely. But yeah, I don't know how to change the world with Twitter.
Yeah, forget about Twitter. I think that Elon Musk bought Twitter because he wants to change the world in a way, and he needed Twitter to do that. This is it. So the question is, if you could do the same, what would you do? What change in the world? So Josie said charity. Perfect. Okay, Georgina. Try
First
again.
of all, no. Okay, yeah. First of all, we can't change the world. Okay, that has to be the first thing. We can contribute, we can maybe help, but if you want to change something, you can only change yourself. And that Elon Musk guy, I don't know, but one of his projects is sending people to the moon. So I mean, like, that's really cool, but I think there's other aspects of this world, whatever, human, that call for a bigger urgency or emergency, whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
But you say that you can't or you can?
You can't. You can't change others. You can't change others. You can influence, you can help, you can offer. You can't change others. Change comes from what's one's own mind and one's own thinking. I don't know what that guy wants to do. I don't know. I'm not a Twitter person either, but you're right. You can't monetize Twitter. That's, I think Lucas was saying, but people love Twitter. People have a voice there. I don't know, but the only thing we can do, I guess, is try to help, or change with our example, influence in a way. I said manipulate. Of course, we are manipulated every single day by a lot of things. So I'm going to do that as well. But we cannot.
In which way? What would you do? How would you do it?
Well, first of all, I mean, these are maybe just all my crazy ideas. I would have all those politicians go through a psychiatrist before they're there, and I would go for education. That's the base. That's the base. I mean, that's the base of everything, I think. Education.
Education. Okay, and do you not have the feeling that now you're doing it?
Okay, we might have a feeling that we're doing it, but we cannot change others. So we can individually, we can all do it, but in a very small scale. But if we all go in the same direction, yes, maybe the world can change or whatever. But we only have a very limited sphere of influence, let's say. And I'm talking about obviously human values and people and blah 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 and all of that. I'm not talking about the business side, which I have no clue about, and all of that. But it starts with a small scale, really. I mean, the sphere of influence is very, very limited. I mean, how many people are there in the world? How many people do I know? How many people are we here? Of course, and I guess Twitter, yes, is a good tool. It unites a lot of people in the world, or it brings together a lot of people in the world. But I don't know. On Twitter, I don't know, but people are basically fighting on Twitter as well. So yeah, like they're fighting about the stupidest things. I don't know, but well, I don't know if it's the conversation. Anyway.
All right. So, well, what I take from you, if I may summarize your words, is you would like to impact in the change of education, but we're very little yet, right? If I've understood right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, Gergo again, because other people are also raising their hands. So Gergo again, and then Marisol, and then Mark, and then Olga.
So thank you. We cannot change the word. The word is constantly changing. I mean, like, the word is not a static place. It is changing constantly. What people like Elon Musk is doing, what they are doing very well, is that they know where the word is changing, and they just actually monetize it. So it's I'm not so in this sense, him buying Twitter is I think is directly for it is an investment. Maybe it's not about making money with advertisements on it, but it's a direct investment into getting more money in the end. I think that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's hear Marisol. Thank you, Gergo.
Thank you. Well, I just wanted to add something to what Georgina said. If I had the money, yeah, the first thing that came to my mind was to change education, or, well, better said, have an impact on education. Because I think, you know, it's yeah, it's key. So how are we helping or influencing people? Yeah, although it might sound little, I think every little thing counts. And if you can finish a lesson, you know, feeling that your students have learned something new, you put a smile on them. It's not only about the knowledge that they may have acquired or they're getting from you. It's about how you making an impact, you know, in their everyday lives. And to me, that's crucial. That's very important. And you do it, you know, when you gentle, when you kind with them, when you listen to them, okay, when you show empathy. So it's not just knowledge, okay? We are in the era of communication, as we know, the internet, so people can get knowledge in different ways, okay? But you as a person, what you can transmit to your students, right? The example that you can set, or the help that you can offer, I think it goes beyond that. And to me, that's the important, one of the most important aspects of education.
Thank you. And we move to Mark, but before Mark, I'm going to tell you something. Maybe it will condition your answers, but I wanted to share that with you. A thought that I read, which is we don't evolve, or we don't develop our, we don't evolve according to our possibilities. We evolve according to our beliefs. Now, Mark, you answer.
Yeah. I mean, about Elon Musk and Twitter. I mean, I use Twitter a lot, probably too much, and it seems a bit worrying because he's pushing this message of so-called free speech, which is it looks as if he could like allow Donald Trump back onto Twitter again, and I think he's just trying to stir things up, you know. Also, there's a rumor going around that he could be charging for Twitter. You know, he could have some kind of subscription or something on it. You know, it'll bring all the fascists back to Twitter if Donald Trump is allowed on. Twitter is a bit, you know, there are like two sides to Twitter. I'm luckily don't normally see the nasty side because a lot of the people I follow are sort of decent people and they're kind of raising money for Ukraine and, you know, good causes and things like that. Not so much the bad side. But you can wander around and see some very horrible things on Twitter. People, you know, violently supporting Putin and all these really horrible things, and on Spanish Twitter as well. There is a bit of that. But it's, I mean, I agree. I can't remember who said it was a kind of a vanity project for Elon Musk, but I'd agree with that definitely. I mean, it's not as if he needs the cash. He's not short of money. But there are people on Twitter. Some people saying, well, are we going to leave Twitter? Is it going to change?
In any case, Mark, I know that you're a Twitter user, but my point is, if you have that power and this resourcefulness, what would you do? So forget about Twitter.
Yeah, I don't think buying Twitter. I mean, I read that Elon Musk could. He did give some money to some charitable foundation or something, but he gave a hell of a lot more. Or he promised to do it, and he didn't. A lot more money that he's given to Twitter. He could give that money to Ukraine, or he could give that money to, to stop world hunger or homelessness, or there are so many things in the world.
Okay.
Could be Sorry, I'm gonna have to leave you. So
there is a bit of a background. Let me move to. There was. Erica has raised her hand as well. Erica, let me ask again. It's not about well, Elon Musk is just by association, is because he had the possibility, he bought Twitter. But you, with his resourcefulness, what would you do as Erica? Just as Erica.
Hello, good morning.
Hi.
Hi. So I see you're having an interesting conversation. Regarding Twitter, I would say the way I see it as a powerful medium to influence, to infiltrate mass consciousness. So I think it goes even deeper than politics and current affairs. The power that Twitter has is to change the perception of reality. So,
but you, Erica, what would you do?
So I'll make it like a light in the darkness, a place where we would promote creativity, art, education, freedom of speech, expression.
Okay, thank you. That's great. So I'll ask very quickly, because they raised their hands and have been patiently waiting, but with one sentence to the question, what would you do, Olga?
Hi, I mean, I mostly agree with many things said on Musk and all, especially what Mark has just said, actually. This guy is a very, very ambitious guy, and it's true that he's known as a bit of an idealist, and I believe he is, but he also has a big ego, I think, and what he is after is rather than changing the world in the traditional sense that we understand it, it's leaving something behind.
You have a kid, a little kid. So
yes, so that he will be remembered. I mean, like a heritage. I think that's what he is after. He wants to really leave behind something that's, will make people say, yeah, that was Elon Musk back in 2021, whatever. So I agree that someone with his power and his money could have invested in other things to do with, I mean, there's a lot that needs to be addressed in the world. The first thing is to stop violence, and then corruption. I mean, with these things going on in the world, changing other things or sending people to space, how much difference is it going to make? In terms of technology, yes, it will. But, developments in technology also brought the downfall.
How can you stop violence? How can you stop violence?
See, that's that's a difficult question. I mean, if I had his power and money, I would, and intelligence, of course. He's a very smart guy, I think, and I would try to invest in something like this. But I also consider it as a very, very difficult challenge. And I think the main reason why violence still goes on in the world is most of the time economic. because people do not have equal means, and in the end start, fighting for things. Sometimes it's a very, very basic need, survival. Sometimes it's just to have more greed, like we see with Russia and Putin. And I mean, what's going on in the world at the moment is crazy. And so stopping all this with politics and corruption, I don't know how easy it is. I don't think I would have the power.
I pity you sometimes. I pity you because you see everything, and the world is full of all these horrible things that happen to around us. It's true, but the solution is very simple, and we're in the middle of it. And you mentioned it. What is it? Come on, we're in it. One word.
Sorry?
One word.
Not education?
One word. Paddy, come on. One word.
Not education. No, I would have said the same. No, I think she did say that. She did say that before me, to be fair. But yeah. So but yeah, education, absolutely.
Now, education, and now we're entering deep waters, because whenever there is failure in education, all these horrible things that Olga mentioned happen. And then you are asked the question, what would you do? And then you must be thinking, where should I start? How should I fix all this? So it's either Twitter or education to change the world. Yeah. So me personally, I go with education. Will Twitter help me if I saw some utility? Probably. But the point is, if we have the resources, if we can do something, what would it be, right? So this was eventually it. Now, if we talk about education and why it sometimes fails, I would like us to reflect on something, because again, we don't believe according to, or we don't live according to our possibilities. We live according to our beliefs, right? And in education, just a reflection, then you'll tell me whether you agree or not. But in education, we've had the same assumptions again and again, right? And one of the assumptions is that there are people that fail in education. This is one assumption. So it is so, let's say that it's been going on for so long that we're kind of used to it. Okay, so the second assumption of all of you is that it's not, or not of all of you, sorry, don't want to generalize. It's like you are very humble and you think that you don't have enough impact. And I say you are already using it or doing it. You're already creating the impact. So how can you not see that you have much bigger impact than what you pronounce, that what you verbalize? I'm a bit surprised here, because you have to understand, you have to realize how much difference you make. And you're very, very humble. I'm not so humble. So I'll tell you what you are doing actually here. Now, I'll go back to the failure thing in education, because it's a massive assumption. So we assume that only a few students are going to get the higher grade, and the majority of the students are going to fall behind. Maybe not dramatically, but they will have gaps of knowledge, and when they have even a small percentage of gap, or when they fall behind, even with a small percentage, when we accumulate small percentages of something, it can make a difference. And it's when we can have more educated, less educated, that can bring violence, that can bring corruption, that can be a lot of vices in today's society that you're so sensitive to. War, the worst of every or of anything. Okay, and how can we actually make an impact? How can we reverse that? So we only have to imagine and do something different. We only have to imagine that people, the assumption of people, there are A students and B students and C students and D and E. we don't have to take it for granted. If we can do that, then the only question is, and how do we do it? So in order to change something, you don't have to assume that it's the status quo. You can say it doesn't have to be that way. There is a way. How? Okay. And surprising as that it might be, we're doing it. Okay, before I tell you how, because you are raising your hands, Jim, go ahead. Because you've raised your hand, right, Jim?
So yeah, I was muted. So yeah, I mean, addressing the idea of failure in education, I don't think there's ever a failure whether the student learns like one word or everything. I think as long as the student learns something, then it's a success. The failure comes when that student doesn't have access to that education. And I think that's the biggest failure in education, is getting every child, every adult, everybody out there, giving them the opportunity to learn. That's where the failure in education is. And going back to what you said about what you do with money, that's what I would do. If I had Elon Musk money, I would make education available to everybody, regardless of social status, where they live, everything. Even if it means a teacher going and living in a tent in somewhere in Africa and teaching children the days of the week or something like that in another language, or how to add up or something like that. As long as we do that, then.
But the point is, yeah, and of course, I understand. So there are contexts and parts of the world that they don't even have access of education to education, and this is bad. But now think of the parts of the world, Western world, when everyone can access education, and yet there is failure and abandoning, and that is real failure. That is a tragedy. Yeah. When you have the possibility, but the system kicks you out. Okay, because you say, yeah, everyone should have, but okay, here we have it in the countries that we are in, we have it, and yet people are abandoning, people are choosing not to continue because they can't. To me, that's tragedy. That's really tragic. Josie, what do you think? Or what you wanted to say?
I just wanted to think a little more broadly about what we're doing as well as language teachers. Is we're not only teaching like how to speak the language, but also communication. And like communication breakdown is such a big contributor to violence, to all of these issues that we have in the world. So for me as a teacher, that's like really a thing that I want to bring into it. Like, of course, vocabulary, grammar, everything like that is super important. But being able to teach people how to communicate well, how to communicate with many more people, I think is really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Georgina?
I don't know. I say so many things today. I'm just getting lost. But I mean, when we're there in a class, and of course, we are teaching this sort of like technical thing called English, but you're also a person, and you're transmitting something there about how you see the world and how you feel about it. And that would be a little sphere of influence. And I remember back a long time ago, we're talking about the mistakes in the teaching systems. And I said, it's the teacher's fault, because in the long run, it's she or he who's in the class, and it's he or she who decides. And I think there's a problem here, maybe related to this war thing, which is comparing. And I remember when I was in the academy, of course, there were like really bright students, there were mid students, and there were students that, you know, had a hard time, but I believed in them. I still helped them, and I still make them believe that they could do it. That, you know, they made it, the thing is you're comparing all the time. And if we compare ourselves, well, I don't know what's going on in wars, but maybe it has something to do with that. The competition and competing and comparing, maybe that would be an issue. And if you're with a student, you don't compete, you don't compare, you just help them.
Yeah, no, you teach much more than what is the the obvious. I can tell you this and I will show you, and by the end of the session you'll see that we actually do. Paddy again.
Sorry. Yeah. So just kind of sticking with what the guys have pretty much said, you do teach a lot more than just actually speaking the language and understanding the language, because how do you teach the language without obviously discussing everyday topics? Like the topics that we create, for example, are related to everyday news, business topics. I'm sure we'll talk. Actually, I've done a lot of activities on Musk in particular, actually, but we discuss every day our opinions. Obviously, we take a non-biased approach as teachers. It's always the best way to do it, not to get stuck into things, but you expand their knowledge in that way, because you get to discuss everyday important kind of significant topics with open-minded people and intelligent people of so many different backgrounds. You educate yourself as a teacher actually with these discussions, I find anyway. And yeah. we can help educate them in the same way, and they can now express themselves. More importantly than just speak, they can express themselves and have some very meaningful discussions with English speakers all over the world. So I think yeah, it's such a massive thing in that sense. But yeah, there's so much more to it. You could talk for days on education and just language teaching alone, and what we can kind of accomplish with that. But that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Anyone? Okay, so I don't see many more raised hands. Maybe just another thought on my behalf. Another thing that we give them, apart from topics, apart from kindness, topics to talk about, apart from kindness, apart from culture, which is what you guys mentioned, we give them tools. And since they are not so obvious, they are not tangible, sometimes they're technological tools, and a tech solution that is not so visible, or pretty well, it is operating for them, we sometimes forget about it. So look, Elon Musk can buy or can create, and actually he knows a big deal about tools and about IT and technology, and probably he wants to change the world through Twitter. But we are changing today's lives through the educational tools that we're creating. So what we give our students is the opportunity for them not to fail at school. And how is that? And here is the not so obvious part. Technology operates to identify these gaps in knowledge. Why are we so obsessed in knowing what the students don't know? Because no one else cares. No one else takes care of it. So education is linear. And if you fall behind, no one is going to tell you, oh, what's going on with you? Do you need help? Where? Because not even the student knows where they need help or what they need help with. But technology can help us identify these needs, and we are actually acting upon them. And the beauty of it is that it feels like you guys are having a conversation. So this is something that we are already doing. Okay, so imagine a kid or a child that is a very good student. Imagine that in the Spanish educational system, they use grades 1 to 10. So 10 equals the A students in the US system, I believe. Now, 8 is still a very good grade. And 8 also means that more or less 80% of the content is acquired, 20% is not acquired. Now, imagine that test after test, there we have our 80% of content acquired, 20% not acquired. Now, imagine so much accumulation that no one is acting upon, but you are. with the technology, the way we teach, you are. So now imagine that this student is not an eight student. They get 6s or 5s. So does that mean that they will never get the chance to learn what they've missed? In a traditional educational system, that's what it means. That's exactly what it means. So when you're actually talking about the impact, you have to know what a huge impact you have when you're teaching. And yeah, it appears very natural and the class flows and the pace is amazing, and yet you are doing that. So no one focuses on the 20%. No one. No one focuses on the 40% that is not acquired, nor on the 50% that is not acquired. People simply fall behind until many or some abandon. But here you are doing something different. You're making technology, or you're putting technology at the use of the things that are not acquired from the students, and you're acting upon them. So I would like you to realize that, and I would like you to start communicating it, because we can talk about quality as much as we want, and we will. But there is something before quality, and it's a stance that you take. This is even before quality. Before even you get started, you have to take a stance. Will I assume that some of my students will be better and some will be worse? Or I have the tools, and so do my students. They have the tools to achieve exactly the same as the A students. It can be a matter of time. I'm not saying they will do it at the same time. It will take a bit longer, but eventually they'll get there. They'll get to the 100%. So this is the shift in education that we're doing, and we're doing it with very little resources, actually. It's true. But with this idea that is life-changing. Life-changing for our students, it's life-changing for them. Because, just one assumption changes it all. Now imagine what we could do with Elon Musk's money. Imagine with that assumption that everyone can be an A student and a little bit more of money. Mari Carmen, over to you.
Hi, now that you're mentioning this, Radmila, it reminds me of something that happened yesterday in a group of teens. There was only 2 kids. The one I had before, and he never put the camera on, like me, I suppose. And I asked him yesterday to do so. And there was a bit of a difference between their levels. And we did the one activity, 8 minutes. And I don't know why I chose to go straight to the topic. And the topic was about whether you agree or not on wearing a uniform at school. Mm-hmm. And I have to confess that I didn't do my job well, because I know I'm supposed to do 3 activities, but what happened there, how they got activated, I just let them go. There was only 2, and they were actually on the camera raising their hands with a finger like this, like, I want to talk next, I want to talk next. And it was just 2 of them. And from thinking that, they were like struggling a little bit with the first activity instructor, to being activated like they did with this topic. They wouldn't stop talking. They just, everything that they had learned in English from before just came out right there. And they were like, kept on talking and kept on talking. I was amazed of how they got activated and how the whole magic happened simply by continuously working on something. And I think that was an incredible experience.
Then how can you not think that you are changing someone's lives, education in general, etc.? It's an amazing experience. It's an amazing testimonial, this one.
I applauded them. I've never done that to any student, and I applauded them. And I don't know if I should say this because it's a bit tacky, but I had tears in my eyes because I was amazed. I was really amazed.
And maybe you are changing their lives as we speak.
Well, the the one responsibility, I really wanted to give my opinion, but I didn't because I have to be respectful above all. So I can activate them to think, and that's what I like. For them to know that always under the umbrella of respect, whatever they think is good and just as good. Without the umbrella of respect, it's better not to think and go to the zoo. But they did so, and it was incredible. I mean, really, a hell of an experience. And above all is that I saw that they didn't realize how much they had inside, how much English they knew. So simply by putting on the table something that interests them, all of a sudden their good English comes out amazingly. And obviously that's a product of a work on daily basis. So it definitely works. And that is such an enjoyment. It's unbelievable.
Okay. Now, can you please say, and I know that it's a bit tacky, but can you please say for me, Mari Carmen, I'm changing the education right now. I'm changing the world.
Well, I do believe so, but with this, I would say that, okay, I'm changing the education, okay, but I will admit that only adding to it that you change the world and the education when there is respect in opinions. So going back to Twitter, it's great, but what's freedom of speech? What's freedom of education? For me, it's only one thing, is to let people know that they can think by themselves. And with respect, all the ideas are good. I don't care what they're about. With respect, they're all good. So education, for me, it's the freedom of thoughts. Then the tool comes, which is obviously be able to speak and communicate. But the essential thing here for me is you are free to think.
That is also something that you can educate. The freedom of speech, of course. And for that, and I know what I'm talking about because I was raised in my first school years in a system that we didn't have freedom of speech. And I can tell you, I know how important that is. And this is also something that we educate. Okay. But really, guys, I want you to imagine for a second, really close your eyes or don't close your eyes, but just imagine for a while a school full of students of A. And now believe it, you are making it happen right now with your classes. You are changing lives. So this bunch of people that are with us today, you are all doing it. Now imagine your pockets full of money. If with what we have, the resources that we have, the tools that we have, we're managing to do it, imagine your pockets full of money. Okay. Questions? Any questions? Anyone? Or I don't know if I tried that everyone that had raised their hand has the opportunity to speak, but if I've forgotten about someone, sorry, over to you. Okay, so sorry?
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work what?
No, it's not going to work because imagine all A's with your pockets full of money. That will never go together. Your motivation and your only single motivation, if you want students to get A, is for students to get A's, not to make money. And the A students are not people who get a letter A on their paper. They're the ones who are able and capable of being happy with who they are, no matter what they do, and having that responsibility. Because actually the freedom of speech, we talk about that all the time. And I said before, that has to come with responsibility. And it's what Mari Carmen was saying. You know, you have to be aware of what you're saying and be responsible of it. And I don't believe in freedom of speech. I do not, although I'm always here saying a bunch of things. Your only true single motivation has to be helping others and getting them A's. And probably the money will come, but don't think about the money. If that motivation is there, you're going to be like Elon.
I agree. Well, yeah, of course. Don't think about.
We're getting very philosophical here. So today I love the chat today. It's very, very philosophical. very, very picky also in a way. But we are English teachers and we do need the money to pay the bills, yes. So it's very
How do
interesting.
you get it? Now let's jump into it, because that's a concern of many people. So yeah, all this is fantastic, but how do I get the money? Come on, let's answer this question.
And then
Let's
I want to
fill
say
your pockets now.
I want to say another thing, but maybe it has nothing to do with the talk of today, like always. A very long time ago, a person who studied economy and philosophy, he said to me, the problem is that economy runs around money and not around people. And it should feed people, it should serve people, right? And when I think about the business model, and I know today is not maybe the topic, the business model that we're working with together now here does not work around money. It works around people. It works around benefiting one another. And that's something that, I wanted to share. It has nothing to do with the teaching maybe, but it has to do with this philosophy of the human touch, human side, of how to make that money as well, I guess. And I keep that in mind. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fine, but in any case, it's never about money until it is, until it is. So it's never about money until the teacher and the educator realizes that teaching is not for them because they cannot make a living, which is sad. So it's not about money until you have to choose to take a different role, because the current one, satisfying as it is, doesn't allow you to live. So my point is, there has to be, after all these, all this idea and educate and changing education and changing the paradigm that we are creating, we have to take care of and create a model that also grants that the people can live and have the economical satisfaction as well. So now we're not going to become probably tycoons, but we can have a better lifestyle and a better living than with the traditional system. This is where I'm going. So do you know how to do it? Because this is the part that I wouldn't want to be just an imagine. I want to make it a reality. Do you know how to get it? Okay, so Josie, do you know how to get the money?
I can think of one word, just community and helping each other, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Lena, how about you? Do you know how would you get it?
Yes, but can you hear me all right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, I actually had my hand up, but somebody already answered my question prior to you asking me. But indeed, my comment about, I did want to give a comment about Elon Musk as well. I doubt his idea is to broaden the possibilities of freedom of speech, but at the same time, he's already, I don't know if you've noticed the news this morning, but he's already come across an obstacle in Europe, because Europe does not actually accept freedom of speech. So he's going to lose a lot of money in Europe by buying Twitter. My answer to if I would buy Twitter and if I had Elon Musk's money, then absolutely. I don't know. I buy plenty more things up as well. I agree with Georgina that everything starts from an individual and we all contribute towards a change. And now talking about my own pocket, then yes, as I've realized in the past few weeks, it's what makes a difference is actually being an active member of a society, meaning like active member of Oxinity as society, as a micro society, and being also an active member of a bigger society, meaning what's happening around myself. And yeah, and again, I have to say I agree with Georgina, but I understand you, Radmila, as well, because my formal education starts the same way as yours, without any ability of having my own opinion or being able to express it. But at the same time, I do agree that being a teacher is more like being like it's like it's a calling. It's not a profession, and yeah, just by doing my very best.
Sure you are. But you've had an academy and you know both perspectives. So here, the point is just a very simple idea that we are developing, and I want to make it clear again, and then you can ask me how to do that. But the idea is that if you count just on your hours, then you have very limited growth. You have no growth. This is very simple idea. So when you realize that there is much more than your hours, everyone's hours put together, then you realize that actually that sum of hours equals a service that goes much further than your reach. Okay, this is the first thing that we can do. So yeah, you can have the business of the language school, you can be a teacher, but you can also have the business of the language school. You have the tools, and you can choose to do that. You have the opportunity. If you have the opportunity, use it, because then the satisfaction is going to be bigger. Okay, so just remember that a business that is based on limited hours is very, very poor, or very well with a reduced reach. It's a ruin. A business that is based on unlimited hours has unlimited growth, unlimited potential. Now I want to show you, because since our last session, we've got already some results. I could see that you've been doing things, and the decision has to be very, very quick, and the execution is quicker, and I'm going to show you in 1 minute. We have 2 minutes left. I'm going to use them to show you how exactly that happens, because after all this talking, you may think, yeah, but it's too nice, but it's a utopia, and it isn't. So one of the strategies that we were advising you to take is, where are people are online. Don't limit yourself to finding your niche. Go find the segments and then transmit value, right? This is the idea. And the execution is, and don't tell just your community how great a teacher you are, how great content you can create, because maybe 200, 300, 400 people will see you, and that's that, your friends. Go and tell people that have different needs how great a service you have. Yeah, what a fantastic service you have. So it's extremely easy, and here is what every single one of you have contributed. This is your creation, this blog. And when you have to decide how to grow, of course you can do a little bit of it alone, but not this much. Yeah, not everything. It's just impossible. But when you have that and you don't know how to use it, then it's a shame. So here again, for you guys, how exactly you can use that. So I have copied this, and here I will show you two things. Okay, this is the Oxinity Facebook. So I don't know how many followers we have, several hundreds, but in any case, am I to expect this to sell? No, I honestly don't. I expect people to be engaged, because this is a great post, but that's that. But what I can do, I can find who will benefit from it. And I can find the groups, and I can become a member and a contributor there. And once I know that people need, or once I think of who might need that, then I'm going to go and put this content in front of their eyes. So here I have a group, just one of the groups that I belong to. This is a group about activities and educational resources. So presumably my post will help those people, presumably. And this is, I've copied this blog post that I've chosen here, 5 effective tips to improve your listening skills in Spanish. And all I have to do now is I have to write just a message to them, a teaser, a message to these people. Okay. And when I share it, I will add some hashtags. And when I share it, I'm putting that content of value to the segment of people that need it. So it's as simple as this. You don't have to do anything more complicated than this. But while doing it, you will learn exactly, you will go back to that group, you will see the engagement, people will react, you will answer questions, you will engage. And it's where your impact starts to grow. So a very simple habit and the tools and the mindset to become more than what you can reach when you're alone. Just this idea. I think that with that, we can leave it here because this has proven to work. Now it's up to you to try it. Just this. Just that. Okay. Do you have any more questions on how you can reach more people, how you can grow? Anyone? Technical, even technical questions? No? Okay. Great then. So I'll leave you to it. People that have tried this and that have a clear idea of what their differentiation is, they have no problem in communicating it. So just to recap, guys, one idea, we can change education. You are doing it. And one method, we have and go and find the groups and the segments of people that need it. And we put that content that you have all created in front of their eyes. Okay, I hope this was useful and I wish you a great weekend and I hope to see you next week. And thank you everyone because it was really interesting for me. Hope it was for you too.
It was. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye guys.
Have a nice week.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
everyone.
Have a great
Bye.
weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.